special guest today was Ellis.
What's up?
AKA Denny.
How we doing, bro? Good to see you. Thanks for having me. Glad to be on the show.
Absolutely. So we are debating not an age-old question, but one that's starting to spark people's interest a lot, and it's basically between two team members that play with each other. It's about who's better or who's going to have the better projected career between Mike Trout and the one and only Albert Puljos. You all know and love, you STL fans at least. With that one, man, this was a hard one because both of these players are phenomenal. I'm talking about like both already are top 10 all time, and then both could easily go in the top 5. And this one was kind of hard for me because it's like, man, Trout is so young, but in his young career, he has accomplished so much.
A lot.
And absolutely. And there's 3 reasons why I'm going to say that Trout is going to have the better career than Pujols. First one will be MVPs. Second one will be he's better defensive player, and third is he's on the uprise. I use those as my 3 key facts. So basically, with MVPs, they both are tied throughout their career. They both have 3 currently. And what I said, Pujols had his in 2005, 2008, and 2009. And those were the years when Pujols was actually considered the most feared hitter in baseball. He made his debut in 2001. I think he went something crazy. I might be stealing one of your stats, but this is based off memory. I think he hit for like 37 his rookie year, 350. Was it 353? Something crazy.
We'll bring it up later.
Trout already has 3 MVPs. 2014 season, 2016, 2019, and he's only getting better. He's only 28 years old. Pujols is on the tail end of 40. And with the way he's playing, he's probably not going to win another. Trout can win. He could probably break Barry Bonds' record of total of 7, which would be, more respectable because, he's not on steroids or he has never been tested. Neither of these guys have. So that's why it's good that we're talking about. Trout's an 8-time All-Star. Would have been 9, but this year doesn't count because they didn't have an All-Star game. So besides out of the 9 years in the league, he's been basically an all-star every year, so this one doesn't count. So asterisk. He was the Rookie of the Year. He's an 8-time Silver Slugger award, and what people don't, Silver Sluggers means you're the best bat at your position for people who don't know baseball. He's a 2-time All-Star MVP. His WAR is 74.6, and WAR means wins above replacement. So it's basically a non-standardized sabermetric stack that basically sums a player's total contribution to the team. And his is 74.6, and Pujols is at 100.7. And Pujols' WAR this year was negative 0.1, and Trout's was 6.8. So, as I mentioned before, Pujols is regressing, and basically, if Trout his WAR average per career is 6.8, it'll just take him 3.5 seasons to pass Pujols on WAR. So I'll let you talk, get your word.
All right. MVPs, though, that's a tough argument because I do think Trout is going to win a lot more because they don't seem to go off the old adage of the, best player on the best team, which can be a lot more in baseball than in other sports, I think, or a lot less in other sports. You don't see guys in the last place or, not as competitive team getting MVP a lot unless you're a guy like Mike Trout. And it doesn't look like he has nearly as much competition in the league as he used to. Let's see, Mookie moved on to LA. You've got Acuna coming up, Soto coming up. They're both probably perennial MVPs that are coming up, and they are all in the National League. So I do think Trout might get some more MVPs. That being said, Albert has his 3. He was regarded as the, most feared player in baseball. Let's see what he did though. Rookie year, MVP 4, MVP 2 behind Bonds in 02, MVP 2 behind Bonds in 03, MVP 3 probably behind Bonds and somebody else in 04. Then he finally got one, and then another number 2. I don't know. The MVP one is a tough debate.
He does have a lot of top 5 finishers. Like that.
They both do.
Yeah.
That's the tough one. The MVP is a hard thing to debate. But defense, I don't know. It's a tough one to really debate as well. because you know what stamps a good defender in baseball is that gold glove, and Albert's got two. Trout doesn't have one.
I knew you were gonna say
So I don't.
I knew you were gonna say that. He doesn't have one, but he
You know, I mean, I agree.
Huge.
I agree. Trout's a great defender, but you know, if you're gonna go by the accolades, Albert's got those two.
Bounce back off of that, and you did mention the awards, Pujols with two. But that is at first base, and I would argue that Trout's a better defensive player because he is more athletic and agile, and he plays center field, and he has a lot more room to cover, more impactful with the game with his diving catches and throws. First base, you don't have to move as much, and you don't have to be as agile or as athletic.
I agree and disagree. I think that every position has their vulnerabilities and their extremities that they can be pushed through, and I do think that center field you can cover a lot more ground. But I don't think you're not in nearly as many plays as you are on first base. You get most pitchers are trying to get a ground ball out or strike a guy out, and you got all that action going on in the infield. So Albert's been getting put outs multiple times a game. Trout, maybe catches a few, runs down a few. So I think that they're both pretty close to being equal in terms of their importance to their team and where they play on the diamond. But Albert has been DH a little bit because.
I got a question. So, with Albert, with today's game and with Trout having the equal amount of MVPs.
Yeah.
But you saying that competition may have been a little higher back in the day, and then also we have analytics that have entered the game of baseball. Do you think that has played a part into maybe his numbers and his statistics compared to maybe what Albert had to go through before analytics?
I think so. To be honest, that's a good question, Chris, because if you really take away the second place finishes that he had against Bonds, and also that crazy year that Ryan Howard had when he had 58 home runs and 149 RBIs, Albert probably would have won 6 MVPs himself. And I think the pitching overall, I don't know if I think these guys are a little bit more filthy now. There were some old school guys that were really good. Like Randy Johnson's my favorite pitcher of all time. The big unit, and they had some, that Maddox, a lot of good guys in there. Roger Clemens, cheater, steroids. But I think Trout, he's facing fierce competition. With these pitchers, there's so many good ones today. There's the Greinke's, there's the Kershaws, there's the what's his name on New York? DeGrom.
There's too many to name.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great pitchers and
Flaherty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like him. Flaherty's
Jackson.
the old phenom. The thing about it is, I think Trout, Albert was a better power hitter. Both of these players have not had a 50 home run season. That might sound quite surprising to some people. I already knew that. Me and I was both not because we know baseball stats. Albert has never had a 50 home run year. His highest is 49. And Trout has never had a 50 home run year either. His highest is 45 home runs. But I think since he is in his prime, he's only 28, he's probably going to get that. And, he's just, like they said, he's only getting better. Trout is what we call in baseball a 5-tool player, meaning he can field, catch, hit, throw people out, and steal bases. That's also where it comes to the game, where Trout's better than Albert because he can steal a base. Albert, he tried. I mean, he was better than Yachty, but he ain't stealing no bases like Trout. And people don't understand that makes an impact in the game. If it's a low-scoring game and you need to get that runner in scoring position, Trout's going to steal that base for you. I'm not going to not even comparing to old Albert right now. Even prime Albert's not going to do that. That they were measuring speed. I'm just showing you how great an athlete that Mike Trout is. His speed is 28.9 feet per second. Albert's was 23.7. He ran a 6.5 60-yard dash, which is equivalent to a 4.33 So dude's got wheels, and that's just makes him so. He's so transcendent, and it actually, Mike Trout is so good that he had to make me into a believer because everybody knows with baseball, I'm a Bryce Harper guy, but I finally had to concede that this dude was so much better, and he's going to have the better career. He's probably going. People are already calling him the greatest of all time. He never finished under 4th in MVP voting. Never recorded a WAR under 6.8. He has reached 10 twice.
I got a question for you, Ellis.
Yeah.
So with Trout not, because Trout's playoff record is what? Do you know?
Do you want me to? I have that.
Yeah,
I
so
have that
would
one
you-
last page.
Well, yeah.
Would you like? Yeah, go ahead and bring that up. Bring it up. So
Yeah,
that's what I
Trout
wanted
is-
to get into.
yeah,
Is
Trout-
This
Trout's
doesn't
not really
even
winning.
this doesn't even paint the full picture because I just did a stat comparison from 01 to 08 Albert and then 2012 to 2019 Mike Trout because those are the best 8-year periods that they've had. Trout only played 40 games his rookie year, then only had the 53 games this year because he was on paternity leave. Congrats, Mr. Trout, on the kid. But we can pull up the postseason stats. Trout was in there in 2014. Albert was in there 01, 02, 04, 05, and 06, and those are all through those 8 years. Albert had 226 plate appearances to Trout's 15. Let's see.
Teams were better. That's
Thir-
what the Cardinals were.
39 runs to 1, 61 hits to 1,
Oh, that's not fair.
10 doubles to 1. Yeah, I mean, it's not even a comparison.
No, that's not. That has nothing to do with Pujols being better. That's what the teams are surrounding. La Russa was able to build
I agree.
dynasty.
I agree.
LA
Tony
has
built
not
the
figured
dynasty.
it out. They need to put.
They sure have
I think
not.
Trout is in a situation. It's almost like the James Harden effect. Like James Harden won't win in Houston. I don't think Trout's going to win a World Series in
No.
Los Angeles.
He's getting
going to
paid.
have to. He's going to have to go somewhere else eventually.
He's not going to with that contract, at least not at the moment.
Yeah, crazy. Signed a.
I wouldn't let the-
Rising a client. Oh, I can't wait to get to this part.
Well, let's go ahead and do it
You wanna
because
go
it's
first?
but it's got to be subjective for Trout because we just don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's true. We still got.
We can
the
look
back half.
at the stats, not the stats, but the history between the two. So Albert had his injuries as well, and so did Trout, which people don't really think about. Albert's had 4 major injuries. In 06, he broke his wrist, and he was only out for 2 weeks, and he came back because he's like unbelievably strong. 2012, he had knee surgery. 2013, he had torn plantar fascia in his foot, and then also back in 08, he had elbow surgery. Other than that, I haven't found too much other than he's been old and slow recently that has been ailing him. But you look at those, that's 2 in that first 8-year period that I just pointed out between the two of them. Trout has had 3 major problems. In 2017, he tore his UCL in his left thumb, missing 39 games. He had right wrist inflammation, causing him to miss 20 games in 2018. And then in 2019, he had foot surgery to get rid of Morton's neuroma, which I have no idea what that is, but it doesn't sound fun, causing him to miss 28 games. And then this year, he missed 7 games because he had a kid. So, I'm kidding. That doesn't But if you want to look at this, one of those is a major injury. That left thumb, that can be, you know as well, gripping a bat, catching a ball, doing anything with that thumb, that can nag forever. It hasn't shown too much right now because he still put up gaudy numbers the years after that. But you never know. Mike's had 3 solid injuries before the age of, 28. Albert had the same thing before the age of 30-ish. So, you can speculate on the career about the uprise and the decline, but who knows if Trout's going to have that decline or not.
It does. And with my closing statement on that, I would like to point out the 10 years in Albert's tenure with STL, he had just crazy godly numbers. He's the first player in MLB history to hit over 330 home runs and 100 RBIs in 10 straight seasons. That's never been done before, and it probably will never be done again. But his last year in St. Louis, Albert batted .299. And then as you've seen, I think leaving STL kind of damaged Albert's career. .299 went from .285, then to .258, then to .272, .241. And now, at St. Louis, before he left St. Louis, Albert was a career 330 batting average career hitter. And that is extremely good. Now, his batting average is .299 because he's had all those terrible years in LA. Mike Trout's a career 304 batting average hitter. And, he's managed to keep himself in shape. I'll just point out his best year was 45 homers. His 2018, his third MVP. No, second, because he won 2019. He had 45 homers, 145 ribbies, and 291 average. And he's had a slugging percentage of 645. These are all great numbers. And like I said, Trout's only going to get better. He has at least bare minimum 10 solid great years left, and we'll have this debate again in 10 years to see,
Wow.
if he surpasses
10 solid great years? You think he's going to be having a great year when he's 38?
He probably will, man.
Actually, that'll be 39.
He seems
because he'll
like
be 29 at the start of next year.
If he keeps himself in shape, unlike Albert, he eating shrimp and steaks.
Albert's in shape. Round is a shape, right? I don't know. It's a speculation. I sure hope that Trout doesn't decline at all because I'm a big baseball fan. I'm a baseball fan before I'm a Cardinal fan, and I love watching Mike Trout and all these other guys. But you talk about the average. Trout does have a higher career average right now, but that's only 5 points higher with all these negative seasons under Albert's belt.
Yeah.
And I'll bring up the real advanced metrics. Big one, the difference I think between potentially just the players, but also the game. It's the pitches and the swings that they take. Let's see. Albert's strikeout percentage in that 8-year span, 01 to 08, Albert, 12 to 19, Mike Trout. Albert's strikeout percentage was 9.4 compared to Trout's 21.2. That means Mike Trout is striking out once every 5 at-bats. Their walk percentage, Trout does have a higher one though. He strikes out, but also he's the true figure of the modern day baseball player. Great eye, swings for the damn fences every time in hopes that it goes wherever the hell it can over the fence. But looking out here, yes, Albert was 9 at-bats per strikeout. So you get him in the box, that's 3 games he might strike out once. Trout's 3.9, he's going to strike out once a game potentially. What else? The contact was a big one that I looked at. They're pretty even between batted balls in play. Albert's at 70%, Trout was at 65%. The contact rate, Albert was at 85%, Trout was at 79.8%. But then there's that big strikeout number again, which honestly we don't know if the game is going to change at all, or if it's going to keep staying on this trend of walk, hit, or walk, home run, strikeout. I hope it doesn't. I like a lot more action. But we'll see. I don't know. Albert's got the eye and the hand and all of it, and Trout just missing a little bit.